Welcome everyone to this week's Herp Monday. Today we got a good one for you. This thing is tiny, cute as button, but doesn't act like the rest of its cousins. Today we are talking about the big-headed turtle. Not a lot is known about this turtle. Really interesting. As you can see, it's got a big old head. There's plenty of pictures out there. Here's a picture of kind of the entire body that you might see, and we'll discuss a little more into this. If you look them up, they have a whole bunch. This right here is a good picture showing how large their head is compared to their body. But anyway, so big-headed turtle, or scientific name Platysternum megacephalum. Now, the scientific names are descriptive of the animal. They're supposed to be. The full scientific name is. So, Platysternum megacephalum, big head. Pretty darn descriptive. It is part of the family Platysternidae. It is a monotypic family. This is the only member of its family. It is a very old prehistoric turtle. Because obviously, since it is the only member of its family, it's obviously the only member of its genus. So it's very, very unique. Reminds me of a dreadnought. I can see that. These are native to Southeast Asia, which is very common for turtles. Turtles are really only found. Now, the turtle hotspots of the world are basically southeastern US and Asia. That's where I want to say it's like over 70% of all the turtles in the world are found. That's not saying that they're all in trouble. It's not to say that they're all doing well. But normally, if a turtle is you'd have a very fair bet if a turtle is not found in southeastern US, it's found in Asia. Now, as I said, is native to Southeast Asia. It's talking about Cambodia, Myanmar, things like that. Oh, you think that's cute? Wait till I show you a picture later, Tavi. These actually live in cool to cold mountain streams. These don't live in very deep rivers. They're very, very shallow, cool or cold water, and they're very solitary. The females, from my research, the females seem to be, they find a pool and they sit there, and they don't really move. Whereas the males will do some more traveling, as compared to there. These are about 18 to 20 centimeters long, which is from the nose to the end of the shell. And then your tail makes it about 40 centimeters, and that's about max size. That's not like this side, but about max size. So the tail is about the same length as the rest of the turtle. As you can see, it has very, very large, robust scales on the tail, and the reasoning why will be discovered in a bit. As you can tell from the pictures, most of these are yellowish brown in color. This first one is a very old one. I'm not even sure that this is a live specimen. I think it is, but it's a very old individual. Okay, now what were we saying? So as you can tell from this picture, and this is the reason why I wanted to keep this picture, not only can you tell from this picture that it has a big head, but it also has bony plates all in their skull. It's a very bony skull with this massive beak here. Most turtles, they have a beak, but they're normally not as pronounced as this is. As you can deduce, they cannot pull their head into their shell. They can pull their legs in and their tail a little bit, but they cannot pull their head. And we'll get into a little bit more about like their defense here in a minute. But these are not strong swimmers. They cannot swim well at all. All the research that it says when they are actually in the water, their tail is kind of up, think like a scorpion tail, and that's how it sits in the water. They're pretty narrow, as you can see here. They're not like super thick. They're relatively narrow, and that's so that they can hold themselves. They don't swim, they just kind of walk, and they use that tail as a kind of a prop. They use that tail to help them stay in place. They will actually also use their beak as well. And one of the interesting things about this is that they use that beak to climb on rocks, because they'll get out of the river. They'll climb over rocks using their beak to kind of pull themselves along. They'll also use it to climb trees and bushes. So these can actually climb trees, and continually using their tail as a prop to kind of help them keep their balance on the way up. Think like a tripod. Now, one of the interesting things about their climbing abilities, not only can they climb trees, they use them to climb waterfalls. And they'll climb the waterfall by going up, kind of hooking their beak on, and then pulling themselves up and continually doing that. And the crazy thing about it is, if one of these big-headed turtles goes up a waterfall and it gets stuck, it cannot figure out where to go, what at least the males will do, the males will simply just kind of let go and tuck themselves into the shell and just fall backwards, and then kind of right themselves and go up, try and find a different route up the waterfall. Instead of, just trying to keep going, they'll just literally tuck their head in, just fall backward. Now, these are an aggressive defender. You can kind of see from here. This is obviously a cute as a button picture, but it's actually in a defensive posture. It will tuck its legs in, and it'll tuck its tail around, and then it puts its head on the ground, either flat on the ground or kind of nose down, using the bony shells right here, these bony plates. It'll use that to kind of protect, and then it'll just look for an opening and then snap. So these would almost be classified as an aggressive defender. That seems very oxymoronic, but these will try to defend themselves, but if something continually messes with them, they'll bite. They have a very strong bite, extremely strong bite. So definitely be aware of these. So, it's sitting there with its head on the ground, just kind of waiting. If it gets close, it's going to bite. It's very painful, and they do not let go, apparently. Most turtles, there's certain tricks you can do to, if they do bite you, to make them let go of you. If they're not, chopping off your finger. Like if you get bit by an alligator snapping turtle, chances are whatever it bit, it's gone. Red-eared sliders, if they bite you, one of the tricks you can do is you can just put them in water and just do not touch them. Just set them on the bottom of the river and just stay there. Do not try to pull your hand away or anything. Just let them let go of you. Now, all the research, it seems to suggest that these are actually an omnivorous turtle, meaning that they eat both plants and animals. But there's an argument that it's actually just carnivorous. I've seen some things that say they're just herbivorous. I couldn't really find definite one. So I'm just going to say that they're omnivorous. They'll eat both plants and animals. They are nocturnal, hunting at night. They're more likely more carnivorous than herbivorous, but one of the main things they eat is snails. Snails and crayfish, so crawdads, crustacean, mollusks. These things are eating very hard-shelled animals. That is why they have these big jaws, this big head. It's to provide enough power to crunch through their food sources. Now, they will eat fish as well. I've kind of seen that they eat anything. They eat worms. They'll just kind of, whatever they can kind of find, they will eat, which makes sense when you're talking about these upper cool or cold mountain streams, which are normally very nutrient deprived systems that don't have a whole lot of animal life in them. That's not to say, like the Pacific Northwest or any of your mountain streams are, they're devoid of life. I'm just saying, when you compare them to like a delta of a river, normally the biodiversity is just not there. So now, going in, there is not a lot known about the reproduction of this animal. It's known that the females will lay about 1 to 4 eggs, and they're actually kind of oval. I think, not entirely sure. There has been some successful captive reproduction, and now we're gonna get into the cute picture that Tavi said, it was a cute dragon. Well, look at the baby cute dragon. Apparently when these are very young, these are extremely colorful, and then they dull up with age. They can have a wider range of colors when they're young. Yeah, I knew you'd like. These are in trouble though. They're actually both in trouble from both pet trade and food trade. Apparently these are a delicacy in some Asian cultures. So there is illegal poaching going on, and people think they make great pets, which, to be honest, they probably do make great pets. So people have actually kept them as pets. I'm not saying that they don't do a good job. It's just you never know exactly where you're getting it. And illegal pet trade is one of the biggest detriments for all turtle species. Turtle species have been pushed to numerous problems, and usually from pet or food trade. Now, going back to the successful reproduction efforts, the only way that the zoos have kind of found how to do some successful reproduction is to kind of mimic the seasonal cycles for it. So they'll drop the temperature of the little enclosure they're in and kind of make them go into a hibernation sort of stasis. And then once they come out of hibernation, apparently that's when the big-headed turtle will actually reproduce. So they did that, and they've actually caused multiple reproductive episodes in a single year by doing this artificial light and temperature influences on the turtles. It's normally really rough on them, but remember, these being very critically endangered, they're trying to make little nursery populations to protect the species from going extinct. But thank you guys so much for stopping in. I really appreciate it, and I hope again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Listen, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Please check out Fish Friday. These are by far my favorite parts of the week. But take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and peace.